I do this radio Monday through Friday at 10:06 to 11 every weekday morning. I have a stack of station lists over there if you want to know where you can hear me, or you can just do it online. You just go to csctalkradio.com and you can listen live. It has 24-hour looping on the stream, so Friday's show will air till Monday's goes live. Monday's show airs till Tuesday's goes live, and I podcast everything, so you can just go pick and choose whatever you want. So that's what I do on a daily basis. And I wondered, you know, we're sitting in here, and it's really an honor to be here with so many patriots. And all of you have a story to tell. And we come here and we tell those stories to one another, and we hug and we cry, and we smile and we carry on, we eat. But does the world hear that story? They need to hear that story. So when they asked me to talk about what resonates with my listeners, I thought, well, that's not very exciting. It's kind of dull. Then I stopped and I thought about it a little bit, because there's nothing dull about my listeners. And there's certainly nothing dull about what's going on in our lives. I close each show with a tagline of bringing America home. Bringing America home means back to common sense, back to what we were intended to be with our founding fathers. So when we bring America home, I think about what my listeners want to hear is truth. They want to hear about the Constitution. They want to hear hope and encouragement. They want to hear about property rights. They want to hear about faith and morality, common sense, history. They love history, sincerity, reality, solutions. Like someone said yesterday, we can sit there and hammer all day long or complain all day long at the coffee shop or on the telephone or wherever we are, on the radio, but if we don't have a solution, we're just fear-mongers. So we have to have a solution. This has been a room full of problems with solutions. So, I want to share something. I've been changing my speech as the days gone by, both days. But this was something I took out of my speech that I decided I should put back in because of something someone mentioned today. So where are we? When we talk about bringing America home, Beth Ann, what do you mean home? I don't know who wrote this. From bondage to spiritual faith. From spiritual faith to courage. From courage to liberty. And from liberty to abundance. From abundance to selfishness. From selfishness to apathy. From apathy to dependence. And from dependence back into bondage. This is a cycle that's kind of natural for mankind. Where do you think America stands in this cycle right now? How many times have we talked about or complained about morality? We just don't have any morals in this nation anymore. Generalizing. I know that we have lots of it here. The rhetoric we hear on the air these days, whether it's mainstream media or even Fox, and I listen to Fox constantly in the evening. It drives Albert nuts. He has to go watch a ball game or something. He gets tired of me yelling at the TV. We hear those commentators go on and on and on, and they make no sense. They speak bureaucrat. They speak nonsense. But what I tell my listeners, and what I've heard here today and yesterday, We all have. And I know I have Democrats listening to the show as well as Republicans, and I'm not really a party person. I'm more of an independent. But what we have in common is what we have to look for. In this room, we're not going to agree on everything. Big surprise? But there's a common denominator in all of us. There's something that you and I will have in common. There's something that we can all say, yes, that's important to me. So what would that be? Food. All of America needs food. Family. Most of America love their family. Jobs. The economy. Speaking of family, is Kimberly still here? She's here somewhere, right? She's out gallivanting around. I'm a mom. I raised 5 sons. I heard someone say they had 4. I raised 5 of them. I have 14 grandchildren. I don't want to admit this. I have 2 great-grandchildren. Feeling kind of old. But you feel pretty young when you're around there crawling on the ground with them and playing with them. And why do I do what I do? Why do I think we should find a solution? Because I have 14 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren. And the future of this nation ain't looking so good. Not for liberty. In this room, liberty's important, isn't it? It's important to our children. They just don't know it yet. It's wonderful to have a teenager get up and talk about the Constitution and how important it is and how he can't wait to vote. I'm so old, I was the first one that was 18 that got to vote. I remember when they changed that age. Our fight today is not a whole lot different than the Founding Fathers. Have you ever stopped and think about what they were really fighting about? I do a show every single day, and then we have holidays. And I think I want to take a day off or that hour off, you know, Trent? So I pre-record a show. So I got this idea 2 years ago I was going to pre-record a show on 4th of July. And so the producer I had at the time, he and I got together, and I did a dramatic reading of the Declaration of Independence. I don't know how to explain it, but it was like it became a part of me while I was reading it. Now, I've written down just a few of the grievances in the Declaration of Independence that I think pertain to us today, that are the same things we complain about today. So let me read them. He has made judges dependent on his will alone for the tenure of their offices and the amount and payment of their salaries. Let me read that again. He has made judges dependent on his will alone for the tenure of their offices and the amount and payment of their salaries. Think about that. He has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. Have you had your substance eaten out, John? Is that not our alphabet bureaucrats? Multitude of offices and officers for imposing taxes on us without our consent. These offices, this is Beth's opinion, okay? These offices, these alphabet bureaucrats, make all kinds of rules and regulations and mandates and licenses and permits and fees, taxes. You didn't vote on them. no representation, but taxes. For taking away our charter, abolishing our most valuable laws, and altering fundamentally the forms of government. Congress ignores our Constitution. And they chip away at our Bill of Rights. Just chip, 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 chip. You don't need that kind of gun. You don't need that much ammo. You shouldn't be hurting people's feelings. Don't be saying that. Chip, chip, chip. And even a Republican president said, it's just a GG piece of paper. Speaking of the Constitution. For suspending our own legislatures and declaring themselves invested with power to legislate for us in the cases of whatsoever. Career politicians taking care of their careers. In my opinion, the 17th Amendment created career politicians. They're no longer appointed by our state legislature. So some woman that was First Lady of Arkansas, and then she became First Lady of the United States, can move to New York and buy a senator seat. She can become a senator. Somebody from another state can come into your state. They've done it in Missouri, I'm sure they've done it in California, and they become a senator. But what do they know about what you do? What do they know about your life? Your industry? Nada. So do we happen to have any of those senators or representatives or any elected officials here now, at this moment that I've just kicked around? Because I was going to put out a disclaimer here. Okay. My disclaimer is, maybe not a disclaimer, but a warning. If you are an elected official or you're planning on being an elected official of Congress, it has been my revelation in the last several weeks that the real problem here in the United States of America and the biggest threat to our liberty, to our property, to our families, to our Constitution, to our Bill of Rights, the biggest threat to America is Congress. You see, presidents come and presidents go. And we have good ones and bad ones. But Congress stays and stays and stays and plays, and you and I pay. We pay with our taxes. We pay with our liberty, losses of liberty. It goes on and on and on, and they keep legislating and legislating and legislating, and we lose more and more rights. Oh, but they give you these entitlements, and you become dependent and in bondage. I found it interesting. I like movies. Does anybody else like movies? Ooh, that's not good. All right, did anybody see The Patriot? We should have one of these one time and just watch The Patriot. The Patriot, Mel Gibson was the Patriot. And I have to brag just a little. The Patriot is loosely based off of two characters, well, two men in our Revolutionary War. Francis Marion, which was the Swamp Fox, Brigadier General Francis Marion, and Brigadier General Thomas Sumter, who was the Gamecock. My maiden name is Sumter. Now you know why I had that blood running through my veins. So, in reality, in life, Thomas Sumter was not going to fight. He didn't want to fight in the Revolutionary War. So they bring him in the movie, and they're trying to talk him into fight because they know what a fighter he is. He's been in so many battles. He was vicious. You know what he said to him? Now I want you to think about this. I wrote this down during the movie. Why should I trade one tyrant 3,000 miles away for 3,000 tyrants 1 mile away? Isn't that what our bureaucracy truly is? Aren't they tyrants? We were not designed in this nation to be dictated from D.C. We were designed by our founding fathers to be governed locally. Who knows best what goes on right here in your county than you do, than the people who live here? Who knows better? You know, I listen to all these things you guys talk about, and it's different in Missouri, but we have the same problems, just different labels on them. We have he's actually my husband's cousin that farms down on the river bottom, and he has had a battle with the Corps of Engineers. He's down there on the Missouri River. It's everywhere. We have traded one tyrant 3,000 miles away for 3,000 tyrants 1 mile away. I said Congress is the problem, and I truly believe that. And it's up to us. Only you, only me, only we the people can drain the swamp. Oh, we want President Trump to be the savior of the United States of America. That's not going to happen. Hopefully he can get some good things done. I like it that he tweets. Sometimes I don't like what he tweets. But people are paying attention. Would anybody have known some of the things that he's tweeted about if he didn't tweet? I didn't know about lotto immigration. I didn't know about that. Lottery immigration. Did you know about that? I didn't know about it, but I did after he tweeted. You look it up, you figure it out. Well, Congress tries to tell us with all this legislation that they're going to take care of us, and it's necessary. You know, this is necessary to save the water. It's necessary to save the land. It's necessary for the endangered species. Listen to this description or this definition of necessity. Necessity is the plea for every infringement of human freedom. It is the argument of tyrants. It is the creed of slaves. By William Pitt Earl of Chapman, back in the 1700s. Necessity. So when they tell you it's necessary, stop and think, is it really necessary? But Congress tries to convince us that the things they're going to do is necessary. Have you ever thought about what the list of their responsibilities truly is? How many in this room know Sheriff Richard Mack? Have you ever heard of Sheriff Richard? Okay. In his book, The County Sheriff, in his book, Are You a David? He lists what Congress responsibilities are. Now, Congress is the House and the Senate. That's Congress together, okay? They're supposed to take care of these 5 things: treason, counterfeiting our currency, our economy, piracies and felonies committed on the high seas, offenses against the law of nations, invasions, protecting the borders. In that, you heard nothing about regulating land or the air or health care. There was nothing in there about welfare, providing welfare for the poor, and there was nothing in there about endangered species. I think they work way too hard. Don't you? So we got to recognize the problems before we can come up with a solution. Again, the problem, in my opinion, is Congress. Congress is the biggest threat to American liberty. Congress is the greatest offender of the Constitution. Congress legislates chaos in bills that are lengthy and complicated, not necessary. James Madison stated, "It will be of little avail if the laws be so voluminous that they cannot be read, or so incoherent that they cannot be understood." Wow. What made him write that way back then? Let me read something else. I was looking it up on my phone because I didn't have my quote book with me a little bit ago when you were up here. What did they think of private property? This is Sir William Blackstone. "So great, moreover, is the regard of the law for private property that it will not authorize the least violation of it, no, not even for the general good for the whole community." That was written a long time ago. How many times do we hear today, for the community? It's for the good of the whole community. That's what eminent domain is supposed to be, right? For the whole community. We the people, we are the solution. The solution is here in this room. The solution is young men studying their Constitution. The solution is locals running for your own elected officials. Congress, I have a name for them. It's kind of lengthy. DC occupiers occupying offices and cutting deals. We pay for the losses of our freedoms because of Congress. Congress very seldom talks about protecting the republic. You know, I like Mr. Nunes. I watch him on Fox a lot, and I cheer him on. But I noticed yesterday he talked about the democracy. What do you think? Are we a democracy or are we a republic? A democracy is a form of government in which all eligible citizens, I like the word eligible, have the right to equal participation, either directly or through elected representatives, in the proposal, development, and creation of laws. To put it in very simple terms, it is a form of government where people choose their own government and the voice of the majority rules. And once the majority is established, the minority has no say. Now, it's basically mob rule. That's what democracy is, and our founding fathers didn't want a democracy. Now, we have a republic, supposedly, with some democratic policies. But a democracy would never allow an electoral college. And that's why you see not just Hillary Clinton, but others wanting to get rid of the Electoral College. If they ever do that, our republic is gone, and our liberty is finished. The minority will never have a say again. So rural America will always be ruled by the cities. Now, a republic, and the term republic, as used today, it says in this, refers to a representative democracy with an elected head of state, such as a president, serving for a limited term. Even in a republic, it's the voice of the majority that rules through chosen representatives. However, there is a chapter of Constitution of basic rights that protects the minority from being completely unrepresented or overridden. Our founding fathers were so wise. They pretty much covered everything. And why do you think that was? Because they pretty much went through it all. What the king was doing to them is no different than what king government is doing to us. The difference is we pretend we're free. We live in a land of pretending. If we were free, we wouldn't see things happening like to the Hages, to the Bundys, to the Hammonds, to John, and to others. You know, the Bundys and the Hammonds made it into you got on TV though, didn't you? I thought I saw you there. They made the big time. You didn't get on mainstream media, did you? Did you? Okay. Hages didn't, that I recall. Nobody knew what was going on. Nobody. Our founding fathers, they have set a foundation for us. So we should not have the same battle, bloody battle that they had, because they put it there for us to keep, that republic. We didn't do too good a job of that. I have a saying here that I stumbled on. It was actually a gentleman that was running for president as a right arm, and I had him on the air. He's passed away now, but he sent this to me, and I really liked it. But it's a Greek proverb. It says, "Society grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they will never enjoy. They know when they plant that tree, they're not going to be the ones that enjoy the shade." Basically, our founding fathers really didn't get to enjoy the freedom and the liberties that we have, or that the generations before us did. Our founding fathers planted that tree of liberty, and it's up to us now, since we've let the bureaucrats take over, to start pruning it and preserving it for our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, and the future generations of this nation. Our founding fathers, they pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honors. Most of them gave up their lives, or some of the lives of their families. Many of them, they sacrificed everything they had. Their fortunes were gone. But I'll tell you this right now, not one of them gave up their sacred honor. Not one. we can't really blame Congress. They've just done what come natural. They got caught up in the money and in the power. And we allowed it. Because we were in an abundance. The nation was having abundance. And so we were sitting back kind of selfish and taking it easy. And now we're thinking, what happened? We let them get carried away. So it's up to us. The solution really is simple, but it's not going to be easy. The solution is we the people. We're the only ones that can drain the swamp. We're the only ones that can clean it up locally. We're the only ones. We need to be teaching coordination in all the communities. How are we going to do that? One state, one county at a time. It's not going to be easy, and we can't sit back and just watch movies. We got to get active. Education is a good part of it. That's one thing I try to do on the air. Educate and activate. It does no good to talk about the problems if you don't action. How many of you have a piece of paper and you take notes? Okay, I'm going to give you a phone number. Ooh, looky there, all open and I feel power. 202-224-3121. How many know what that number is? It's the DC switchboard. 202-224-3121. Put it on your speed dial. Use it. They do listen. Trent's standing up. I think I know what that means.
Needed a better angle.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay. In closing, something my listeners, I don't know if they really like it or not, but I share poems. Sometimes I write them, sometimes I find them. This one I found, and I shared it. And it probably meant more to me than it did to them, and I'm hoping that you will hear the message in this. It's old. It's by William Ralph Emerson. It's called A Nation's Strength. Now remember, I said the solution is you. It's we the people. We have seen them tearing down our morals, trying to remove our God. We know that separation of church and God is not real. They try to confuse our children and tear the families apart. And a nation with strong families is a strong nation. This is called a nation's strength. And that's not about family, but it is about a nation's strength. What makes a nation's pillars high and its foundation strong? What makes it mighty to defy the foes that round it throng? It's not gold. Its kingdoms grand go down in battle strong. Its shafts are laid on sinking sand, not on abiding rock. Is it the sword? Ask the red dust of empires passed away. The blood has turned their stones to rust, their glory to decay. And is it pride? Ah, that bright crown has seemed to nations sweet. But God has struck its luster down in ashes at his feet. Not gold, but only men can make a people great and strong. Men who, for truth and honor's sake, stand fast and suffer long. Brave men who work while others sleep, who dare while others fly. They build a nation's pillars deep and lift them to the sky. You see, America's strength and goodness squarely lies on you, men and women, strong and faithful, we the people. Together, we can. I close every show this way. Together, and only standing together, we will bring America home.
You bet, man.